We invited you here this morning to talk about the tragedy that occurred at Stoneman Douglas High School in Broward County and the ripple effects that we are feeling here in Hillsborough County and the city of Tampa. Tampa Police Chief Brian Dugan is here with me. Unfortunately, the Sheriff's Office was not able to join us, but the school district and all of law enforcement have a partnership to keep our students and our staff safe on campus. We have reminded our students and staff, see something, say something. We want to know if there are concerns that our students or families are seeing or hearing about. But since the devastating shooting at Stoneman Douglas High School, we have continued to see false rumors, pranks, and irresponsible social media postings related to our community. Now, these are not funny. They're scary for our schools and our families, and they disrupt our learning. Plus, they take away our resources from real security needs. We are here today to let everyone know there are consequences. If you are creating false alarms, if you are misleading our investigators, if you are spreading fear, you will face consequences. I'm going to ask for Chief Dugan to come up here and give an example of what they've been facing at the Tampa Police Department.
Thank you. Like the superintendent said, we're taking every threat serious. I think he hit the nail on the head. The comments, the social media posts that they may think are funny, we are not finding it funny at all. You're not funny, and we're going to come out there and we're going to knock on your door and we're going to ask you the hard questions. We're taking these threats serious, but I can tell you that the investigations are time-consuming, and they're tying us up on monotonous stuff because the students aren't aware of what they're posting on social media. They're not thinking before they speak, and the parents need to be engaged and involved on what their kids are saying and what their kids are doing. These investigations require a lot of time and tie us up, but I assure you the Tampa Police Department is taking this serious. If probable cause exists, you will be arrested. It's that simple. We are taking this very serious, and we're not going to let anything fall through the cracks. You make an idiotic statement, whether you meant it or not, is not for us to judge. If probable cause exists, you will be arrested. We made arrest at Middleton because one student decided to threaten a teacher and come back and shoot the place up. They got arrested. There will be other potential arrests later today. We will be releasing that type of information. But I assure the parents and the students that we are taking everything serious, and there will be consequences to their actions and to their comments.
As Chief said, it's important to say we want to know about the real concerns. If you see something, say something to an adult, tell a principal. But if you're out there creating false alarms, don't be surprised when there are consequences for your actions. Thank you for being today. We'll take a few questions.
Chief, if I could ask you, where's the line? As a matter of fact, there's two people I know on Facebook, and one of them posted on Friday, right after the shooting, that his daughter had reported that there was a lockdown at her high school. There was a credible threat, and he put it out there that there was a problem going on at his daughter's high school. She may have believed it because rumors spread rampantly at high schools. Where do you draw the line about what is proper, not proper, and illegal to do?
Well, I think it's when you make the threat. That's the world we live in. Kids are texting each other today, and they're saying one school's on lockdown and things. That's not necessarily a threat. They're spreading information, whether it's false or not. My own son texts me with, hey, this school's locked down. No, it's not true. But that's the world we live in today with kids and their devices. But when you're making threats, when you're posting things on social media, when you're saying things, there are consequences, and we're going to take them serious.
What are your thoughts on spreading these rumors? Just this morning at Plant High School, there was a lockdown drill. We received phone calls in the newsroom, as probably other news agencies did as well. People concerned that there was something actually going on, even though the school board had sent out a voice message to all the parents, an email to the parents. But people are so on edge right now. What would you say about spreading those kind of rumors?
Well, I don't think people realize what they're doing. I think they have the best of intentions in getting the word out, but they don't realize, unless you can verify it, unless you hear it from the school district or from law enforcement agency, it's probably not true. We're doing our best to communicate what's going on, where we're struggling. And I don't want to speak for the superintendent, but there's so many things that are happening so fast, it's hard to get the word out sometimes to tell you what is rumor and what isn't rumor. You know, if we thought there was a serious threat where we had to lock down a school, when in doubt, we're going to ask them to lock down a school. But the superintendent is working very hard with his people. Everybody's overwhelmed with the craziness right now.
My own daughter told me, she's a student with Plant, my own daughter told me that the whole demeanor at the school has changed right now. Kids are on edge, they don't feel safe. I was down in Parkland, I talked to those students. We've heard before, see something, say something, and yet they said, we said something. What can you do to put students at ease right now about what's going on?
Well, I think just by being here today and our teamwork with the school district, you know, we're working it, we're taking it serious. You put something silly out there, we're going to knock on your door and come and talk to you.
How can you put them at ease, though, if they're feeling, you know, as the students at Parkland did, we said something and yet school violence still happens?
Well, I think they're seeing actions right now, and, you know, action speaks louder than words. You know, we're knocking on doors. If they tell us something, we're following up on it and going through it.
Chief, how do you feel about 18 and 19-year-olds being able to purchase AR-15s?
You know, that's a whole gun control thing. That's a whole totally different topic.
Superintendent, are you seeing an increase in absenteeism because of what happened?
Well, that's part of the ripple effect that I mentioned earlier on. I mean, some of these things are affecting learning, you know, in our schools. So when a family hears something or they see something out on social media and it's something that's a false threat, but they see it as something credible because they don't know any better, obviously they're going to want to, you know, circle up and they're going to take care of their kids. That's first and foremost. You know, so I totally understand families reacting that way, and we are seeing those kind of things occurring. But what I want to make sure the message is clear is we are in minute-by-minute contact between our agencies, TPD, the sheriff's office, on everything that is coming through. You know, we're doing drills, as you mentioned, this week just to make sure we're reinforcing, you know, proper procedures across our district. And when you talk about kind of the anxiety kids are feeling, you know, everyone is feeling that. One of the things I can be very assured of knowing is as we every single day open up our schools and serve 215,000 students and put 90,000 kids on buses, and we are always looking out for the safety of our children, no matter what happened last week or not. That's always going to be our mode of operation. But this has created great complications, you know, in the way that we administer the safety around our kids and our families, to reassure them because of all these other issues that are occurring out there, especially some of these false threats that end up taking our valuable resources and security and distracting them somewhere else when we should be really focused on the things that are more credible, the day-to-day operations that we have in our district of keeping our kids safe.
Jeff, I know that this is a delicate balance here, and you're in two different positions, but what would you say to the parents who have called us and said, now is not the time to be doing drills because everybody's panicking? Yeah,
you know, and that's why we didn't do them last week at all. We just knew there was a time period by which we all had to kind of take a breath across the country and in our community. But we do know that when incidents like that occur somewhere else, that people that are not well, you know, they could be seeing those as well. So we want to make sure we do everything in a more timely manner to ensure everyone has the proper procedures, proper protocols at our schools. And I get it, because whenever you hear your child's school is on lockdown, or, you know, I can feel it as a parent what you feel. And so I just want you to know that we're going to take everything seriously, but we are going to make sure that that the kids that are, especially the kids, because I know Plant they were huge last night individual that we had here in this community. There was emotions on their face just last night. So I could tell that's happening in all of our schools. Our kids feel it. So we want to make sure we have all the right services around them, counselors to speak with. We have all our student services staff out there available for our kids that are struggling in that way as well, because they do sense all the other issues that are happening right now across their community.
Specifically, advice for parents: they're going to hear the rumors are going to come out before you can notify them. How do you want a parent to react if they hear about a specific lockdown or threat to their school right now?
Sure. Well, obviously, the first thing that they have to know is probably if they've heard it, we're already ahead of that. I mean, that's one thing that you have to know between our security staff, the chief here. I mean, that we're typically a few hours out in front of those particular rumors, and we're already starting to determine whether they're credible or not. And as soon as we determine their credibility in their investigation with TPD and working with our security office, we're going to get that out to families. And so if if there is a concern, obviously contacting their school, contacting our district to be able to ask questions. We welcome that right now because we know that that's on everyone's mind. But I can guarantee you, when working closely here with Chief and our law enforcement agencies, when they hear something, boy, they go and they immediately determine whether that's credible or not. And they will go out to houses and they will track people down and they will ask the very difficult questions and end up putting things to bed. A lot of times when those are out there on social media, they've already been resolved. And so we have to just sometimes it's overnight, so we have to wait for that right moment to inform everyone that those issues have been resolved.
This is Emerald with Channel 10 News. Can you please just talk about the importance of parents communicating with their children and monitoring social media? It can be incredibly difficult these days to watch every single thing that your child does.
Right. So you have to have a strong presence, with your children and their social media. And obviously their phones, texting, and so forth. I mean, if any lessons come out, we come out with lots of lessons, but one of the lessons for parents right now is engage. Engage your kids right now with their phones, with their devices. What are they watching? What are they reading? What are they saying? These are times just to kind of circle up and ask those questions and just kind of have a family conversation about that, knowing that it's saturating them a great deal right now. So everyone's kind of feeling it. So as a parent, a great opportunity to engage as a family around kind of rules and things that you guys want to follow at your home. But our kids, this is their life now. So we sometimes as adults, it's not quite our life yet. So we've got to become present and involved with what our children are involved with.
Chief, there have been a couple instances where students have posted on social media pictures with guns, with and without words. Is a picture of a student with a weapon a threat, or what happens, or is that breaking the law at that point?
Well, it obviously catches our attention, and then we have to do further investigation. So it just, I hate to give you a strange answer of it depends, but it just depends on, but it's going to usually warrant us sitting down and talk to them. Now is not the time to be doing stuff like that. These things are taken very serious. Everybody's on edge, and we're going to exercise on the side of caution. And like I said, a probable cause of arrest, you're going to get hauled off to jail. It's that simple.
To that end, Chief, what percentage, if you can, of these sorts of rumors and tips and things that you're seeing are you able to quickly put aside, and how many of them do you actually have to commit resources to?
Well, very few of them are quickly put aside because it takes time to go out and knock on doors and talk to people and see if they have the ability to do what they're talking about and go from there. And then it takes several conversations with people to find out their mindset of that person. So nothing ever happens very quickly. That's part of why we're so overwhelmed with this.
And even the smallest thing that may have in the past been something that you would say not credible, you're having to spend time and resources pursuing, yeah?
Yeah, there's no doubt. And I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but I was very clear with our detectives yesterday that if probable cause exists, go ahead and make the arrest. And whoever it is can explain it to the judge and to the prosecutor, and we'll go from there.
Is this big enough where you're creating a new squad just to take care of these issues, or how is it spread out within your department?
No, we're okay with that. We work very well with the school system, and we spread things out. So we're okay with that, but it's time consuming. I think concern stuff necessary. Don't do it. Like the superintendent said, engage with your kids. I know that's a novel concept these days where parents actually talk to their kids, but get them out of their room, get them off their device, get them off their PlayStation or Xbox, and actually talk to them and see what's going on.
An open-ended question for you, Superintendent. Do you have any specific improvements? The governor's meeting with people over today about possible improvements to school safety. Do you have any specific ideas that you would like to see implemented in your district at least?
I think we continually assess kind of what our next best practice is. Obviously, every situation that's occurred recently across the country has been somewhat unconventional. So every unconventional type of situation, we have to assess it along with law enforcement and see what now can we do differently. We have clear protocols, we have trainings that we're implementing. How do we adjust those along the way? Obviously resources are going to be needed in order for us to do more training, have more people in security, and work more closely with our law enforcement, have other kinds of devices that do better tracking. all that's going to cost money. And so we understand that there's going to have to be resources applied to that. You know, I think the best answer to that is we're going to assess with law enforcement each of these situations and determine what adjustments we are going to have to make along the way. Because I, as a superintendent, don't necessarily have, here's what's going to fix, you know, this. There's not one clear-cut answer to that particular question. And so it's really about understanding the nature of these kinds of tragedies and kind of unpacking them, debriefing them with our law enforcement, and then going about, because we do trainings together, law enforcement and our security, along with our district. So we want to make sure we're completely aligned with what we do to prevent these things in the future.
Would you support arming teachers in Hillsborough County?
I'm not really going to discuss that. That's not really a topic for this particular discussion.
What credibility criteria are you using right now to determine what is reasonable to pass on to police and get them involved with those resources?
Well, you know, obviously we have a great security staff here in our district, but we're engaging everything. I mean, literally the smallest of things that come through our security staff, you know, we're going to engage directly with the school, directly with starting that particular investigation, and then starting to partner up with TPD or HSO to determine kind of what are those next steps. So it's really, and that's why this has become very, very complex, you know, in our community right now, because we know there's already anxiety about the actual tragedy that occurred last week. We just want to make sure everyone's clear. Now's not the time to do anything even small that is false. It's gonna take our resources. It's going to distract us away from doing the business of keeping 215,000 kids safe every day.
Any discussion about increasing the SRO staff in Hillsborough County schools?
You know, all of those kind of things we're going to now analyze. Once again, that comes with resources that we're going to need above and beyond what we currently receive.
So are we looking at high schools, or where are these threats coming from? What's the focus?
So, I mean, I can just address it, and then Chief, if you want to come up. So, I mean, obviously from everywhere. I mean, it's not limited to one school or one community. We are seeing things from different, obviously social media is not just one place. It's out there, so therefore we have to address it kind of holistically across our community. And so, you know, it's just not just a high school specific type of an issue we're dealing with right now. So we just have to make sure that everyone knows that we're going to take it seriously no matter, you know, what age level, what geographical area. We're going to address this with our law enforcement.
So you're saying elementary, middle, and high school?
Well, we're going to protect all of our kids.
Well, yeah. I mean, but with the threats, they're irresponsible social media postings.
Yeah, I mean, most of them have come from the middle and high school arena. Okay. So, I mean, that's typically what we are seeing right now. But that doesn't mean we have an elementary campus right next door. You know, we have elementaries in close proximity to all of our middle schools and high schools. So we have to engage in everybody, you know, across the whole school district in order to create lockdown situations to protect our children.
Chief, I may have missed it. Did you refer to Middleton? Was there a reference to Middleton?
Yeah, we'll be releasing information about that later today. But yeah, that's where we had one of the cases. But we've had several of them, and that's the one where we made an arrest, and we have a couple others that we're going to make arrests at. You know, there might be a few whether they're related to the school or not, but you know, we're knocking on doors, and you know, it's taking it serious. That's the thing, and you know, everybody's on a heightened alert right now. And so if you say something or post something stupid, you may end up going to jail for it.
How much has that changed? I mean, a week ago, what sort of response would that have triggered versus now?
You know, I don't think it's changed because we always took it serious. And we put people in jail in the past, but now we're getting a lot more. And I think that's really what we're here today, to make people more aware of there's a lot more sensitivity to these type of things. And because people think it's, you know, the students may think they're funny and they're not thinking it through. But we've always taken them serious. We've made previous arrests before. It's just now we're having a lot more, and we're getting a lot more notifications from parents and things like that. And you know, I think where we're very lucky in Hillsborough County is we have phenomenal teachers in the schools that are very much aware and have a pulse on what's going on. And we have, you know, the school resource officer and deputy system that work closely with these kids. And if we didn't have that, just think what we'd be going through.
And there's not a percentage of those that you can quickly dismiss?
You know, the thing with it is you don't want to quickly dismiss something and that be the one you missed.
Consequences of the student making a credible threat.
Well, you know, it's a felony. They're going to get arrested for it, depending upon you know, what is said and done, and then we'll go from there when it comes to prosecution and the court system and everything.
Do you think it should be more severe?
threat like that?
No, I mean, I believe it's a second-degree felony. You know, it's pretty serious. You know, and you're gonna get hauled off and sent to jail, and you know, whatever happens down the road, you still have to deal with the consequences of having an arrest and going to jail.
Even as a minor.
Yeah.
Give us a little context on the frequency. What are we talking about? Every once in a while, once a month, you used to get the threat, and now it's once a day. What are we talking about?
I don't have those numbers, but you know, there's been highly publicized case in the past where you know we've gone through things like that.
Can you quantify how many you've seen since the shootings?
You know what? There's many that we're working, so I don't have the tally, and it's just an ongoing situation over the last few days.
Were any of these cases you've investigated actual threats, or were they all just kids for whatever? What's the mindset of these kids that are putting this stuff out that you've investigated?
Well, you know, let me be clear. Yes, we thought they were actual threats. And you know, we wouldn't just say, oh, there's probable cause, make an arrest. So maybe I need to clarify that. We take them serious. We think if there's probable cause and it's a serious threat, then they're going to get arrested.
Superintendent, are you going to change anything about how y'all do stuff since this thing's risen to? Are you going to change or fortify your doors? Are you doing anything different in the school?
Well, we obviously, as we assess the latest tragedy in Broward, you know, one of the things that we have to continue to do is be very vigilant about how we secure our campuses. You know, we have the ability to secure our perimeters. You know, we have the ability to control access into our buildings. We know along with hardening our schools comes a human factor. You know, humans have to develop protocols. We have to remind everyone on our campuses, you know, to secure your perimeter, you have to go and do your gate checks. You have to do everything on a regular basis in order to ensure that we are preventing, you know, anyone from coming on campuses, and then, you know, abide by that access control protocol. So I think a lot of it for us right now, it's about as we go about assessing the situation, it's reminding about those protocols and how we secure our perimeters, how we control access, and then we are accelerating our training that we're doing. Obviously, we'd already started some of that. We had over 9,000 employees trained. We're going to accelerate that to get that through this year. We know that you know, locking schools down, we do that fairly regularly because of situations that naturally occur in communities, but we're going to tighten that down and this week really practice again and be laser focused on the lockdown kind of evacuation drills across our district.
Hardening of schools costs money.
It does, and we've spent a lot of money hardening schools. And so those are the things that if we've hardened schools, and we want to make sure that everyone is engaged around how we keep our perimeter secure, how we control access into our buildings. And that's what we're emphasizing this week.
Are charter schools also included in the drills this week?
We're getting information out to everybody this week.
Regarding other protections that you all are doing at some of the schools, I talked with an administrator at Plant, and he said that you guys were doing things like adding fencing or doing something with fencing, cutting back trees. What else would you tell parents so that they feel confident that you guys are doing everything?
Yeah, well, one of the things we also coupled along with some directions around our drills is let's review all of our facilities, because there could be some vulnerabilities. We might have a gate that has a lock that's not working. We want to make sure that gets fixed ASAP. You know, there may be some things that they are recognizing, and a lot of this has come from parents. So I want to let parents know we appreciate, because you are our customer. When you come in onto our campus, you're seeing things that we may not see from the inside out. So as you're recommending those things to principals, they're getting to either our security staff or our maintenance department to be able to fix those kind of things. So thank you very much for being here today. We appreciate it.